Hello, it's the Toaster Party, and today I'm going to talk about Magic the Gathering's Timeless format. So, it's been a week now, and I figured I'd put out a few ideas on it. So, starting off with what the format looks like right now, I feel as though I was correct in what the best decks were going to be going in, aside from a notable lack of Blood Moon decks. The card is a powerful card, but it just hasn't seen a lot of play in the formats, at least from my experience so far. The format seems to be heavily centered around tempo and control decks, with some combo decks existing, but it is definitely more centered around the tempo and control strategies, with the best control decks being things like 5-color field and Temur control. And with regards to the tempo, it's stuff like Delver and Death Shadow Shell. And I would say compared to any format, it plays out the most similarly to Modern. A lot of this is because the cards that are the most powerful in it are things that already were very powerful in the Modern format. Moving on to some observations, that out of all the many busted cards in the format, the one that has proven to be the most powerful in this format is Orcish Bowmasters. I believe the reason for this is twofold. One, it hits a lot of other really powerful creatures in the format, stuff like Ragavan, other Orcish Bowmasters, and Dragon's Rage Channeler. And it also preys on a lot of the powerful draw spells, stuff like Treasure Cruise, stuff like Brainstorm, where in using those cards you open yourself up to a lot of damage and creating a bigger threat on your opponent's field. And that also goes into another thought, in that Treasure Cruise has felt more like Expressive Iteration copies 5 through 8 rather than the other way around, with Expressive Iteration feeling like Treasure Cruises 5 through 8. What I mean to say is that Expressive Iteration has felt more powerful than Treasure Cruise in this format, in that Expressive Iteration always costs 2 mana, where Treasure Cruise you don't always want to be casting it for 1 mana, and I feel as though most of the time you're not doing that because you want to keep your Dragon's Rage Channelers with having 3 power and having Delirium on. And also the fact that Expressive Iteration doesn't draw because of things like Orcish Bowmasters. That, don't get me wrong, I feel as though Treasure Cruise is a very powerful card. It's just that Expressive Iteration has felt like a more powerful card, which is very weird to me. Another thing is that, at least in Best of 3, combos that have seemed successful have been mostly control combo decks rather than dedicated fast combo. I don't think I have seen a good list trying to use Dark Ritual for something yet. And I feel as though a lot of the reason for that is a lot of the cards that tempo and control use to combat each other also just happen to combat the combo decks as well. You're probably going to see things like Spell Pierce in a lot of people's main boards. So let's move on to some final overall thoughts. I feel as though that this is the best ranked format on the platform right now. It's a format that really rewards you for being really good at the game, because you do have to know what to hit with your counterspells, what to hit with your removal, or when to try doing your combo if you are a combo deck. If I had to say one major downside of the format right now, it has to do with the economy, with many of the most important staples of the format being stuff that were upshifted from commons when they went into the system. Stuff like Lightning Bolt, Counterspell, and Brainstorm from Strixhaven's Mystic Archive. I feel as though this would have been a less big problem if these came out in a set that people opened, but Strixhaven in its time in Standard was not a very well open set on an arena, at least in my experience, because a lot of the cards that players wanted to play in competitive formats were stuff at the common and uncommon slot, and it was pointless to craft things like Lightning Bolt and Counterspell prior to Timeless existing, because the only other place you could use them was on Historic Brawl, which is just Brawl now, but you would only then need one. When I started out playing this format, I had 0 copies of all of these. I didn't have any Lightning Bolt, Counterspell, or Brainstorm, and have been slowly trying to craft these all together, which has been a bit of a problem when trying to get far on the ranked ladder right now. because it is a very fun format, but it's just a bit of a hindrance that a lot of the cards that really feel like they shouldn't be hard to access are hard to access. Well, those are all my thoughts. Thank you all for watching. Hope you leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I hope you all have an excellent day.